Hello everyone, here we will discuss about the runnable interface in Java programming. This is an interface which is used to execute the code on a parallel threads. This is a functional interface which is defined in the Java API inside the language package. The runnable interface is having a single abstract method. That method name is run, which is not carrying any arguments. As per this, here syntax is given: public interface name is here runnable. This is having the method run, which is not carrying any argument, and also this method is ended with semicolon. That means which is not having the content, body of the content, right? So this method is equivalent to the abstract method. Already we know the interface concept. The interface will have any number of methods, right? That methods will not have the body of content. So that method is equivalent to the abstract method. So based upon that, here we are going to implementing the runnable interface by using the class. Okay, so this class is going to implement the interface. At the same time, this class is used to create the object. So the object of this class, which is implementing the interface, is used to create the thread. Here I am creating the thread. This is carrying the object obj, which is defined by using thread ex class, which is implementing runnable interface. So now this T1 is performing all the actions belonging to this thread, which is carrying obj. That obj is defined by the class thread ex. So whatever action is performed here, defined here, that will be performing by using this T1. So now I'm going to invoking the start method here, which is given. Once I am invoking the start method by using the thread 1, which is having the capability to access the obj. So obj is defined by thread ex. So thread ex is having the user defined run method. This user defined run method is implicitly invoking by Java virtual machine once this t1.start is executing. So automatically the run method will call by this t1.start, then it will perform the action which is defined here. So that's what it is given. The run method is invoking in a thread which is executing separately. That means once it is invoked, then the run method will be executed separately. So here this run method is user defined run method available inside the thread ex, which is implementing the runnable interface. Here runnable is also having a method run. So automatically the Java virtual machine is overriding this run method by the class thread ex, which is having its own run method, because the runnable is acting as a parent here. This one is acting as a child or subclass, okay, which is implementing the runnable interface. So which is accessing the features of the runnable interface. Based upon this inheritance concept, this method run is overriding the method which is defined in the runnable interface. Based upon that, here I am going to give the syntax to instantiate the thread by using a class that is implemented by implementing the runnable interface. So visual representation is given by using the block diagram. Here the runnable interface, built-in interface, is implemented by thread ex, is the user defined class. Based upon that, I am writing the code. Class thread ex is implementing the runnable interface. Then it will have user defined method run, which is having some number of statements to perform some action. So I am giving the a block that is having the content of run method. Then inside the main method, I am going to instantiating the object by using the class thread ex. So as per this, here you see I am creating the obj by using the class thread ex, that is user defined class. I am instantiating the object, then I am creating the thread t1 which is carrying the obj that is belongs to this thread ex. So here the t1 is carrying the obj object. Then now I am going to invoke the start method for t1. So the t1 is defined here, that is carrying the obj, and I am invoking the start method by using the t1. Once start method is invoked, then implicitly the JVM is invoking the run method which is belonging to this obj. Obj is belonging to thread ex. So thread ex is having the method run which is implicitly called by JVM whenever we are invoking the start method by using this object variable t1. So when it is calling this, automatically this run method is overriding the run method which is written inside the built-in runnable interface. So this action will be performing whenever you are invoking the start method by using the t1 which is having the accessibility of obj. Obj is defined by the thread ex. Thread ex is having this run method. So everything is here associated with each other. Based upon that, here I am giving the statements after defining the class which is implementing the runnable. We are creating the object which is belonging to the type thread, which is using the user defined class thread ex. Whatever I have explained in the previous slide, that's what given here. This thread is mandatory because the thread object is using the multi-threaded functionality to that object. That means here the thread is here defining, okay, by invoking the obj, right? This obj is defined by thread ex. Thread ex is the class which is receiving the facilities of the runnable interface. Runnable interface is having the thread concept related facilities that is inheriting by thread ex. That's what is given here. Thread object defined by the user defined class. Okay, so obj is here defined by the class thread ex which is receiving the multi-threaded functionalities, right, to this object. Therefore the thread object must know the reference of the object during thread creation to use that multi-threaded functionalities. That means here after defining the obj, we are going to create the thread by using thread class. Okay, so this obj is having the facilities of runnable interface, then this is going to use that facilities, and that facilities are accessed by using the constructors. So here I am using the thread is the class which is having the constructor. In this constructor I am passing the object which is created by using the runnable interface. You look at that, here this is the constructor. Thread is the built-in class in multi-threading concept. So to this constructor we are passing the variable obj which is created to implement the runnable interface. So runnable obj we are passing here. Okay, so that's what we are passing here. And another one thing is, here if you want to set the name to that particular thread, we can give this here. For example, you see the name is passing here sum for the obj, then automatically this is going to assign as a name for this t1. So here which is ensuring that thread is associated with the run method of the object which is implementing the runnable interface. So here obj is the object which is implementing the runnable interface by using the class thread ex. Once the start method is called, automatically this run method will be invoked which is related to the class thread ex. Here the thread will end whenever the run method is returning any value after completion of all the actions or whenever it is terminating. So the thread will be ended once it is completing the process or terminating the process. So based upon that, here we are going to see thread start will not start running until user call the start method. That means here you see uh, we are using the thread one dot start. Okay, until here the run method will not execute. That's what we are looking that using that statement. Okay, so from this statement we should understand until we are calling the start method, the run method will not execute. Once you are calling the start method, then only which is initiating that JVM is initiating to execute or call the run method. Based upon that, here we are giving the example. I am writing the code thread ex3 implementing runnable interface. So this is the block. So runnable interface is the built-in interface which is implemented by thread ex3. Then the action block will be written inside the thread ex3 which is implementing runnable interface. The action is here just displaying thread is running, sum equal to 0, so which is performing the sum of three numbers, right, from 0 1 2. Then 3 will not come, 3 less than 3 is false. So it is performing the addition of these three elements. Then it is displaying the value of 0 plus 1 plus 2, right? So this action will be performed. So as per the block diagram, I am giving the block of run which is having the set of statements. Then inside the main method I am instantiating the object. So here I am going to create the object with respect to thread ex3. So using this thread ex3 I am instantiating the object. So here obj is carried out by using the t1. So t1 is defined here by using the thread constructor. This constructor is carrying the obj which is defined by using the thread ex3 is the class which is having the facilities of thread concept because which is implementing the runnable interface. So here once I am instantiating, then I have the thread t1 which is having the accessibility of obj. So obj is having the accessibility of thread ex3. So now I am going to instantiating the start method, I mean initiating the start method by using t1. So once it is done, t1 is related to the obj is related to thread ex3. So implicitly the t1 is invoking the run method which is belonging to thread ex3. So this run method will execute right by the Java virtual machine. So once the start method is invoked, after that you see the run method will override the method which is available inside the runnable interface. In the background, runnable interface is having the method run here which is abstract method. Okay, which is abstract method. So this abstract method is overridden by this user defined method which is belonging to thread ex3. So automatically, right, so this is overridden by the user defined method. Then this action will be performed. That action will be displaying the sum of these three numbers. Sum of these three numbers is here 0 comma 1 comma 2. So all are added, so we got 3 as the output. So like this we can create the thread and we can perform some actions by using runnable interface, right? That runnable interface is implemented by using some class, any of the class. That class is used to create the object. Through that object we will perform the threading operations. Thank you for watching.